أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وفقها في الدين يا رب العالمين وألحقنا بعبادك الصالحين. يقول الله عز وجل: يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم إلى آخر الآية. The verse I quoted is regards to following Quran and Hadith, Quran and Sunnah specifically, and thereafter those that are in authority of your deen, those who are in authority of your deen. As we know, Quran and Hadith is a massive puzzle to solve, and the greatest puzzle solvers, as I like to call it, the greatest puzzle solvers of the Quran and Hadith from the Salafus Salihin was these four Imams. This is why we follow these great giants of deen that have been accepted for more than 1,400 years now. And it will continue until the day of Qiyamah. We continue, inshallah, with the fascinating stories of Imam Abu Hanifah. We done a couple of them last week, and inshallah we'll continue with that same book. I'll give you on the PDF. I've already given it on the PDF. Whoever's read it, you know. But inshallah, let us share, let us hear, and take lesson from who this great person was. He was an absolute genius. Such intelligence. When all the Imams were unable to answer questions, the only person that could give a solution to that problem was Imam Abu Hanifah. Allahu Akbar. We'll see, inshallah. Here, the story comes about of halal and haram. Everyone has always problems with halal and haram. Sometimes it's not definitive in Quran and Hadith what is halal and what is haram. Sometimes it's left to the person. Okay, so now you need to go to the Mufti to tell you, if I do this, will it become halal? Or if I do that, will it become halal? Or will it become haram? So here, a person came to Imam Abu Hanifa, and whilst Imam Abu Hanifa was there, his student was there as well. Uthman bin Abi Zaida, famous student of Imam Abu Hanifa. And now, you must understand, the student of Imam Abu Hanifa was a great student. He wasn't just a normal student. We are talking about mujtahideen, okay? We're talking about the highest caliber fuqaha. The person came with a question. He said, is it permissible to drink water in a cup where the top part, the mouth part, no normal cups that we have, tea cups and stuff, the top part is with real silver, with actual silver? Is there a hadith for that? Huh? Is there a hadith for that? I haven't come across anything like that. Yeah. So Imam Abu Hanifa said, that's fine, completely fine. Go drink. Uthman bin Abi Zaida, he was completely gobsmacked. He's like, how did you just give an answer like that? You know, there's no, what's your proof? Like, give us an example. As a student would, you know, as any student would. Imam Abu Hanifa gave an example. He said, okay, take, for example, a person passes by a river. He gets extremely thirsty. He's on a journey. And due to thirst, he doesn't have any bucket or anything to take the water out. He scoops water out with his hand from the river. And he drinks the water. Whilst doing that, there is a silver ring. Do you deem that water that he drank to be completely valid or not? Meaning, do you deem him drinking to be halal or haram? Allah. But he said, of course, according to everyone would say that this is totally halal. There's nothing wrong with that. So he understood. He understood how Imam Abu Hanifa thought of that question so quickly, so swiftly. And then Uthman bin Abi Zaida, he realized and he said, I have never seen anyone that was more better in reply, swifter in reply than a person like Imam Abu Hanifa. Because you have to put your mind, see, when there's no hadith, when there's no Quran, you have to put your mind to work in such a way that it doesn't conflict with Quran and hadith. This is why these imams are imams. You understand? When a random person from the 21st century, some sheikh or some mufti or some whatever, yeah, when he comes up with a conclusion, it's problematic because we first have to assess him according to the understanding of the Salaf, according to the understanding of Quran and Hadith. Because many a times he thinks that's the opinion of Quran and Hadith, whereas he's conflicting so many Hadith that he doesn't know of. And this has happened many a time. This has happened many a time. I don't want to expose anyone, but great sheikhs of the 21st century, which people call great sheikhs, unfortunately have been exposed time and time again. This is why we don't take deen from 21st century. We take deen from Salafus Salihin. Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, and Imam Ahmad. Khalas. That's enough. You follow one Imam, you follow one GP, Alhamdulillah, your health will be okay. You follow 10 GPs, you're going to be in big issues. Anyway, let's go on to the next story, inshallah. Here, we find the Khalif of the time, Imam Abu Hanifa's time, was Abu Ja'far al-Mansur. He was very famous. Khalif invited Imam Abu Hanifa and he said, I invited you in order to make you Chief Justice. Now, Chief Justice, understand what this role is. In Arabic, it's Qadi al-Qudat. He's the judge in Supreme Court. Okay? Judge, the main head judge of the Supreme Court. This is what Chief Justice means. He, of course, refused. He refused. He didn't want to be appointed as such a person. Due to corruption within leadership, if you go into those roles, you're going to be made to give opinions where maybe you may differ with. You know? Anyway, he refused. Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, he was also clever. He was also a very knowledgeable scholar at the same time as well. He said, why do you refuse to be a Qadi al-Qudat whilst people that are better than you have already taken that post before you? Is that understood? Those people that came before you that were way better than you, greater than you in knowledge, and much better than you in piety, they became Qadi al-Qudat. They became the Chief Justice. Why do you refuse? He said, I am not fit for that position. Immediately the Khalif, he said, you're a liar. So Imam Abu Hanifa immediately replied to that. The moment the Khalif said, you're a liar, he said, Alhamdulillah, the Amirul Mu'mineen, the leader of the believers, has already said that I am not fit for that position. He said, how? He said, how did I say you're not fit for that position? He said, you claim that I'm a liar. If I am a liar, then I am not fit for that position. And if I am not fit for that position, then I told you what I told you. It is clear, I am not fit for that position. Both ways, he was stuck. He said, go away. Go away. Because he imprisoned him. Initially, when he refused, he imprisoned him for a couple of days, and then he called him again and he asked those questions. This is what used to happen. This was normal. We know all the imams were more or less imprisoned. Well, that's injustices. Next, we go on to another story, inshallah, of Imam A'mash. A'mash, Sulaiman bin Mihran. Allahu Akbar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on my Ustad, Mufti Bilal, our Muslim Sharif teacher. He always used to make us memorize. So A'mash is just like a title that he used to be called with. Whereas his actual name is like Abu Huraira. We all know Abu Huraira. But the actual name, Abdurrahman bin Sakhr. Most people don't know. Everyone says Abu Huraira, to the point that we only know him as Abu Huraira. Isn't it? The same thing. Al-A'mash was a great muhaddith. Great muhaddith. He initially had a lot of problems with Imam Abu Hanifa, as many of the muhaddithin done. You know, this was even rampant amongst in his age. Even in his time, a lot of the muhaddithin were, they were puzzled at the way Imam Abu Hanifa would give answers, and his views were contrary to their understanding. Okay, so this was also a problem in their time. Anyway, what happened is he had an argument. Al-A'mash, the great muhaddith, had an argument between him and his wife. His wife became angry and she took an oath that she's not going to talk to him. She's not going to talk to Imam Al-A'mash. On the other hand, he kept on speaking to her, and to the point that he got irritated. Now, he took an oath saying, if you don't talk to me by tonight, I will divorce you 3 times. Where are you supposed to go now? Allahu Akbar. When they both came to their senses, everything was heated up. When they both came to their senses, they couldn't find a solution to solve here. She made an oath, he won't speak to the Imam. He made an oath that by tonight, if she doesn't speak, then she's going to be divorced. They went to this Imam, they went to that Imam, they went to this Imam. None of them had answers. None. They said, you have to atone. You have to make, she's going to be divorced. There's no way out of this situation unless she talks and she atones, gives kafara for her oath, or else she'll be divorced. A'mash, finally, going from one Imam, from Ibn Abi Layla to Sufyan al-Thawri, from Sharik, from many of the great Imams, he came all the way around, and then finally he's like, look, there's no other option but to go to the door of Imam Abu Hanifa. Imam Abu Hanifa, he was a disliker, remember, he was a disliker of Imam Abu Hanifa, but now he's forced to go to the door of Imam Abu Hanifa. So he forced himself to go to the door of Imam Abu Hanifa, and he's apologizing. He's apologizing like he knows what he's done, and he knows that Imam Abu Hanifa knows. Imam Abu Hanifa said, stop your apologizing, tell me why you came here for. This is at night. He came at night. Stop apologizing and tell me what you're here for at this time of the night. So he explained the situation. This is what happened. Abu Hanifa said, Inshallah, if Allah wills, this is an easy matter. It's not that great to solve. So he said, go home. Go. He's confused. He called the muadhin. Now in Kufa, in Medina, it's different, yeah? We've all been Umrah, and we know that there's 2 adhans for Fajr. They give the adhan for Sehri, meaning when the time of Fajr comes in, before the time, like for Sehri, for you to eat Sehri, and then there's the adhan for Fajr. In Kufa, this was prohibited. This was absolutely haram. All the ulama of Kufa were in agreement that you cannot give adhan before the time of any salah time comes in. Okay? Just for background understanding. He got the muadhin. He told him of the story, of course, before he let him go. He got the muadhin. He said, when A'mash goes to his house, after a couple of minutes, give the adhan. Give the adhan for Fajr. There's not going to be any other adhan before Fajr, isn't it? In Kufa, because it's haram according to all the scholars. Give the adhan. So, muadhin done as he was told. The Imam told me to give adhan, I'm going to give adhan. He gave the adhan. His wife, out of, I don't know whether it was joy or whether it was, the wife, she said, all praise belongs to Allah, who relieved me of you, meaning of A'mash. Yeah? Because the night's finished now. According to her, the night's finished. The adhan's been given, the night's finished. All praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah has relieved me from you, O ill-tempered, O person who has anger issues. Yeah? because why did you say such a statement? And then Al-A'mash, he started laughing. He's like, you don't know what happened. You're still inside my marriage. Don't worry, we're still safe. Alhamdulillah, the Imam Abu Hanifa gave us such a ploy, such a plot that Alhamdulillah it worked out to be in my favor. Then from that day on, he continuously, him and his wife, continuously praised Imam Abu Hanifa after every single salah. Initially, he was a hater. You can say that. Yeah? Later on, he became someone who used to make dua for Imam Abu Hanifa after every single salah. Allahu Akbar. So when all the Imams failed to answer a problem, Imam Abu Hanifa came to rescue and he solved the problems which were as if they were unsolvable, as if they were unsolvable. Another one, a very similar one. Here, it's regarding an oath again, another problematic oath. A man came and he said to Imam Abu Hanifa, whilst Imam Abu Yusuf was there. Imam Abu Yusuf is one of the greatest students of Imam Abu Hanifa. So a man came and he said to his wife on oath that he wouldn't talk to her until she talks to him. He wouldn't talk to her until she talks to him. In return, she immediately made an oath. She said, if I talk to you before you talk to me, then everything that I have, all the wealth and everything that I have, all the slaves and everything goes to sadaqah. Puzzled as the situation is, even this person, he was the cousin of Sufyan al-Thawri. Sufyan al-Thawri is another great imam, one of the mujtahid imams of the time. Okay, greater than Imam Abu Hanifa in some sense. That's his cousin. Therefore, he has to go to the most knowledgeable of the person that he knows. He goes to Sufyan al-Thawri. Sufyan al-Thawri says there's no solution to this problem. You have to give kafara. You have to give atonement for your oath. There's no other situation. There's no other way to solve this problem. Then finally, he ends up going to whose door? The door of Imam Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa says, talk as much as you want, both of you. You're both husband and wife, no problem. He was happy in a way. The man was happy in a way. But then he immediately went to Sufyan al-Thawri and told him that Imam Abu Hanifa said, talk as much as you want, you're husband and wife, there's no problem there. She's not divorced, basically. So, as Imam Sufyan al-Thawri comes rushing out of his door to the door of Imam Abu Hanifa knocking, how could you mislead people like this? How could you mislead people like this? How could you give the wrong fatwa, basically? As Imam Abu Hanifa said, come here, cool down. He got the other person as well. And he said, explain what you said and explain what happened. The person explained, the cousin of Sufyan al-Thawri, explained what happened. Imam Abu Hanifa said again. He said, yes, they may talk as they wish. They're not divorced. Nothing has taken place. So Imam Sufyan al-Thawri said, explain to me what happened. How could you give such a fatwa? Explain to me what happened. He said, he took an oath. Yeah. When she spoke back, taking an oath, he said, well, what did he say? He had said to his wife on oath that he would not talk to her until she talks to him. That was the condition, wasn't it? Until she talks to him. Immediately she replied, what? I take an oath. She's already talked. The moment she's taken an oath, she's already talked already. She's already said something. So this is why Allahu Akbar, the geniusness of Imam Abu Hanifa. So Imam Sufyan al-Thawri, he was so amazed. He's like, Ya Allah, you take such intricacies out that we are completely unmindful and unaware of. He was so amazed. He was so fascinated. He's like, wow, I didn't even think of that. He spoke, she spoke, she's already spoken. She's already spoken. There's no oath left for the both of them. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Another story we go into, inshallah, is the Mawla of Imam Abu Hanifa, the freed slave of Imam Abu Hanifa. A man came rushing to Imam Abu Hanifa whilst his sister passed away. In her stomach was a fetus, was a baby. He came rushing to Imam Abu Hanifa. He said, this is what's happened. My sister's passed away. She's got a baby in her stomach. What should I do? The baby's still moving, basically. Abu Hanifa said, go quickly, cut her stomach out and get the baby out. Approximately after 7 years, this person comes back with a child of 7 years old and asks Imam Abu Hanifa, do you know who this is? Imam Abu Hanifa says, I don't know who this is. He said, this is the same person that you told me to save. This is my nephew that you told me to save. Him, I named him Mawla Abu Hanifa, the one who saved, the one who is saved by Imam Abu Hanifa. Allah. Imam Abu Hanifa was pleased, of course. He was happy that he was able to save a life. Because most of the scholars at that time said there's no other option. It is what it is. But immediately he knew who to come to, because he knew Imam Abu Hanifa was always a problem solver. This was his intelligence. This was his nature that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created in him. Next, we go on to another problematic scenario. Here, the scenario is of the killer snake. There was a couple of people sitting in a line. Whilst they were sitting, a snake happened to crawl onto a person. A snake crawled onto one person. He jumped up, it got onto another person next to him. Yeah? So there's 3 people, and the 4th person, listen to this, yeah? So, number one, the first person jumped up, he went to the second person. Second person jumped up immediately, swiftly, quickly, and he went to the 3rd person. And then from the 3rd person, he went to the 4th person, and the 4th person was bitten and he passed away. He passed away. Now, all the scholars of fiqh are there inside a big majlis, mashallah, there's a massive gathering of ulama and everything. So, the greatest scholars were posed with this question. This is a story, this happened. Who is liable to give the blood money for the person that passed away? All of them were discussing. These are the greatest scholars. These are the greatest scholars. They're discussing. Some are saying, a lot of them are saying, all of them are liable for the blood money. Now, blood money is a lot of money. It's not a small amount of money. It's like the amount of 100 camels. It's not a joke. A lot of money. So, all of the ulama, they're discussing. The greatest ulama. Yeah, we're talking about Imam Abu Hanifa was there. Imam Sharik was there. Imam Sufyan al-Thawri was there. Ibn Abi Layla was there. These are the 4 great top scholars of Kufa. Yeah, Baghdad at the time. Remember, these had their own madhabs. All of these had their own madhabs. Okay, it just didn't come down to us. It didn't get accepted. So some of them are saying, look, all of them are liable. All of them are liable to give, all 3 of them are liable to give the blood money for the person who passed away. Others are saying, no, the first one, because he's the one that jumped first. Imam Abu Hanifa, listening to all the other scholars, he's just listening there and he's smirking. He's smirking. So they became a bit, like, why is he smiling at? You know, what is he doing? And they're like, what's your opinion? So Imam Abu Hanifa said, this is a very easy issue. He said, look, The moment the first guy jumped, yeah, and the snake went to the second person, there's, as long as the snake didn't bite the second person, his responsibility is gone. Is, off. Is waived. Same thing with the second person, and then the third person may be responsible. He said the third person can be responsible. But even when it comes to the third person, from the third person, he went to the fourth person. The fourth person passed away, remember. So the third person, so each person is waived. Each person is, because his responsibility is gone. The other person didn't get bitten. When it comes to the third person, there's two scenarios. One is that the snake jumped onto the fourth person and bit him immediately. In that case, the third person will be liable for the blood money. And the second scenario is if the third person jumped and then there was a pause, there was a slight pause before the fourth person done any action to get rid of the snake. Yeah? The snake didn't immediately bite him, but because of his negligence, it bit him. Then in that case, he got bit due to his own negligence, and the third person is also not liable. His responsibility is gone. Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah. The snake, then afterwards, of course, they must have killed it, or they must have let it run off or something. Allahu Alam. It doesn't mention this story. The point is, all of the ulama heard the answer of Imam Abu Hanifa, and they were so fast. They were like, "Wow, how did you come up with something like that so quickly, so fast, on the spot?" And you came up with the scenarios as well. If this happens, then this. If that happens, then that. They were completely mind-boggled. Allahu Akbar. Now, do you remember Abu Ja'far, the Khalif we spoke about? The same Abu Ja'far that wanted to make Imam Abu Hanifa the Qadi al-Qudat. Same Abu Ja'far, he had a slave. He had a worker. You're going to call it a worker, then call it a worker. That worker used to swear Abu Hanifa day and night. Curse him all the time. And Abu Ja'far used to say, don't say such things, because he's a great scholar. He's someone who's great. Abu Ja'far used to always, of course, respect him. He knew the value of those scholars. So speaking ill all the time. He said, okay, it's the worker, he said, the servant. He said to Abu Ja'far, okay, I'll stop swearing on condition if you bring Imam Abu Hanifa here and I'll ask him 3 questions. If he can reply to these 3 questions, then I won't swear him anymore. Abu Ja'far, the Khalif, he said, look, if he answers those 3 questions, you're going to get beaten up. So he said, okay, fine, I take that on. Imam Abu Hanifa comes. What's the first question? Where is the center of the world? Where is the center of the world? So he asks Imam Abu Hanifa. Imam Abu Hanifa says, exactly where you are. Exactly where you are standing or sitting, whatever he was doing, exactly where you are. Daft question, stupid question, deserves a stupid reply. Because the only way he would have been able to prove Imam Abu Hanifa wrong would have been to measure the whole world from both sides, which is impossible. Allah Akbar. Second question. From Allah's creation, from the creation of Allah, what is more? The creation with heads or the creation with legs? Imagine these questions. Look at these questions. Yeah? Which of the creations are more? The creations which Allah created with heads, or the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which He made with legs? No, Abu Hanifa said, of course, it's the creation with heads. That's what it is. Why? Because whoever didn't understand it, fishes are more than all the humans combined, all the animals and everything that combined. The third question. Are there more females or are there more males on earth? Are there more females or are there more males on earth? Abu Hanifa replied according to the verse of the Quran, يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء. There's many men and many women, many males and many females that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. We don't know who's more and who's less. Abu Hanifa, after saying that, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created many males and many females. Which one are you from? Because this one, he was an inuch. He was basically castrated. He was a male, but he was castrated. He was a male with female characteristics. So which one are you from? So Abu Ja'far made him get beaten up, and then Imam Abu Hanifa he left. Allahu Akbar. So Imam Abu Ja'far, he knew that Imam Abu Hanifa will be able to reply, and he knew this person. He, of course, he never ever said ill things or bad things about Imam Abu Hanifa ever again. Imam Abu Hanifa was someone who would be able to answer in that instance. His intelligence was so much, his geniusness was so amazing that he was able to answer on the spot. He knew exactly what the scenarios could be, and he would answer on the spot. Allahu Akbar. The next one we go on to, inshallah, is marriage. A person came to Imam Abu Hanifa. He says, I have this son. He's a bit demented. But I fear him committing zina. I fear him committing zina. A problematic situation. A demented person on top, he fears that this person is going to go around and doing haram things. I got him married. He divorced the woman. So I lost out on the mahar. I gave a big mahar from the dad's side. He arranged the marriage. He got him married. Unfortunately, the son decided he wants to divorce the woman. So I got him a slave. I got him a slave girl back in the days that used to exist. So after a couple of days, same thing, he frees the slave girl. So again, I lost out again. Double loss. These are huge losses. These are not small losses. These are huge losses for the father. So what shall I do? He came crying to Imam Abu Hanifa. What shall I do? What's the solution to this? So Imam Abu Hanifa said, look, you buy a slave girl. You buy a slave girl, get her married, your son. If he decides to divorce her, then there's no problem. She's in your ownership. Isn't it? And if he decides to free her, that's not his to free. It's in your ownership. Allah. Both ways, he's going to get stuck. The son's going to get stuck. He won't be able to give a loss to his father. Allah. Next, we've got a couple of divorce cases. Huh? Divorce is rampant nowadays, unfortunately. It's a sad case, very sad case. Again, a man comes to Imam Abu Hanifa. This is why we say he's the problem solver. Okay? Man comes to Imam Abu Hanifa, says, look, I'm impure. I'm in the state of major ritual impurity, meaning I need ghusl. Without ghusl, I won't be able to pray, I won't be able to do anything. But I said on oath, if I take a ghusl, meaning the Shar'i ghusl, then my wife is divorced 3 times. No, some people, their minds are not always working. Anyway, whatever the case, Abu Hanifa took him by the hand and he said, come walk, let's walk. So they walked and walked and walked. They're talking. They arrive on a bridge on top of a river. Abu Hanifa decides to push him. Decides to push him. He goes inside the water. Abu Hanifa says, it's okay, come on. You can return to your wife, it's fine. You haven't done a ghusl, isn't it? You haven't done a ghusl, but you at the same time. You haven't taken a bath. Your oath is gone. Why? Because in order for you to make ghusl, you need intention, isn't it? You need intention. Here, he didn't intentionally have a ghusl. He was pushed in. He was forced in. Allahu Akbar. That's why Imam Abu Hanifa took him and he was continuously talking to him until he arrived at that point and he pushed him over. Allah. So he didn't need to atone for his oath. And his wife wasn't divorced at the same time. Allah. Another problematic one. When you find people that are hot-headed. Men back in the days were hot-headed, very hot-headed. So he came back from work, a person came back from work, and he saw his wife on a ladder trying to reach the roof. It's the middle of the ladder. And he didn't like what he's seen because he's like, this is outside. They had ghayra. Men back in the days had ghayra. Ghayra means possessiveness. Yeah? They did not want to expose their like nowadays, unfortunately. Wives are doing TikTok, wives are doing everything. Everything in the whole show, unfortunately. And men are more than happy in order to earn that haram rizq and live with that haram rizq. Earned by whatever. Anyway, so the man said, if you take a step if you ascend one step on the ladder, you're divorced 3 times. And if you descend one step, you're also divorced 3 times. How do you solve this problem? They go to this Imam, they go to that Imam, they go to so many Imams, saying, look, there's no solution. None of the Imams have any solution to this. Everyone's stuck. Abu Hanifa, they come to Imam Abu Hanifa, finally, eventually. The woman is still stuck there. Yet. There's nothing happening here. Allah. Stuck on the ladder, come to Imam Abu Hanifa. They say, what's the solution to this? We went to this person, we went to that person, there's no solution. What's the solution? Imam Abu Hanifa says, look, tell her to remain exactly on the step ladder as she was. Not to go one on top, nor one underneath. And the group of women must come and take her as she is with the ladder and then take her down. Take her down. You won't be divorced. Another one said, oh, but this is quite a difficult task. This is what if she falls in the meanwhile, or something happens? Abu Hanifa said, yeah, there's another solution. He said, if a group of women go and force her down, carry her forcefully down the ladder, then the oath will not be taken. The oath will not come to take place. Allahu Akbar. So Imam Abu Hanifa, not only did he have one solution, he had 2 solutions. He had 2 solutions. One is for the group of women to carry her on the spot, on the ladder as she is, to take her down. Or the second option was to forcefully go and carry her down without her will. And they'd be saved. Marriage would be saved. Another on divorce. A man made an oath that he's never going to eat egg. A man made an oath that he's never going to eat an egg. His wife comes along in her hand with a surprise. And he says, if I don't eat what's in your hand, you are divorced. What did she come with? She came with the egg. Allahu Akbar. So, what happened? No one can solve this mystery now. Who's going to solve the problem? Come to Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa says, this is very easy. This is very easy to solve. Take the egg, put it under a hen. The chick comes out, slaughter the chick, have a nice barbecue, have a nice grill. Have a nice grill. It won't be considered that you had the egg because you made an oath that she is divorced, that if you eat an egg, if you eat what's inside her hand, she's not eating what's inside her hand. This has become a chicken now. It's not an egg anymore. It's completely changed. From the egg, it's completely turned into a chicken, and then they slaughter it and they eat it. Nothing will happen. Roast it and eat it. That's what Imam Abu Hanifa said. Allahu Akbar. The marriage was saved. The next story we go on to is another problematic story. All of these are problematic stories. Allahu Akbar. Twins born in one body. Twins born in one body. I'm sure you've seen that, isn't it? You've seen that. Shortly after the babies came out, one died. One baby, two heads. One of them died, the other one is living. What's the fatwa? Mufti Sab. They go to this Imam, that Imam, this Imam, that Imam. They're like, well, the solution, you have to bury both. You have to bury the whole child. Even the one that's alive. No other solution to this. They come to Imam Abu Hanifa. Imam Abu Hanifa, we're in a sticky situation here. Give us a solution. Imam Abu Hanifa listens to the story. And he says, look, bury the part of the baby that's passed away nearby. The mother must continue and feed the baby that's alive, meaning the part of the baby that's alive. This happened for a couple of weeks. And after a couple of weeks, the dead part of the body decomposed. The earth eats it up, isn't it? The earth ate the remains of the dead part of the body. Then, of course, you have to go through some medical procedure, the doctor, the surgeon, in order to fully separate. From that time, they named the baby Mawla Abu Hanifa, because that baby survived and he grew up to his normal manhood as well. Alhamdulillah. He became the one who was saved by Imam Abu Hanifa. This is another story. That was another story. This is another story. So, if it wasn't for Imam Abu Hanifa's fatwa, they listened to all the ulama, this baby would have been no more. Baby would have been buried. Another story. Here we go on to the magic of perfume. Imam Abu Yusuf, being the great student of Imam Abu Hanifa, as humans, he had a quarrel He had an argument with his wife. She became angry and upset. She stopped talking to him. Him, in his anger, he was irritated. She's not speaking, she's not speaking, she's not speaking. He's speaking to her, she's not speaking back. He said, if you do not talk to me by tonight, then you are divorced. 3 talaqs. He was so angry, he was furious. He became furious. After this was probably after a long time. It wasn't just on the spot, probably after a couple of days. She still he tried his best for her to make her speak to him. Nothing. Nothing. He kept on ignoring him. He knows whose door to go to. He's great to start. Imam Abu Hanifa. At night, he runs to Imam Abu Hanifa's door. Starts knocking. Who's there? It's me, it's me. Your student. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive you and me. Imam Abu Hanifa opens the door. He explains the situation. He's in big trouble. He doesn't want to speak. If the night passes, he's going to be in a bigger trouble. Imam Abu Hanifa said, come. He dressed him up, booted and booted to the max. Booted and booted to the max. As if he's going to a wedding or something. It's his own wedding. Abu Hanifa gave him the best of clothes, he gave the best of perfume, he dressed him up right to the max. He said, go to your wife, go to your house, and tell your wife, if you do not talk to me in that state, go to your wife and tell her, if you do not talk to me, then you will realize what type of a regret you'll make, because you'll know that you were the only wife that I had. You were the only wife that I had. Now, the moment he goes to the house, suited and booted and perfumed to such an extent, he's never seen him like this before. Maybe when they got married, that's the only time she saw him like in that state. He opened the door. Immediately, you know what's going to come out of the mouth. You this and you that. Meaning she's thinking like, you're going to go. He immediately said that this is what I'm going to do. You're the only wife that I had, remember. There's no one. Immediately she started speaking. Of course, out of anger. But the point is, she spoke. He's not going to be divorced by the end of the night. Allahu Akbar. Then he, of course, made dua for his ustad the rest of his life after every single salah. This is very similar to another story. This is Imam Abu Yusuf though. This is Imam Abu Yusuf. That was Imam Al-A'mash. Why? Because he saved his marriage. He saved his marriage. Otherwise, he'd be in a situation where he won't be able to pull himself out. He himself couldn't pull himself out of that situation. He was a great Imam. Abu Yusuf was the teacher of Imam Shafi'i. Was the teacher of Imam Shafi'i. Allahu Akbar. The next we go on to the 1,000 dinars. Dinars, back in the days, they never had fake currency like us. Just like we are fake people, likewise, we got fake currency. Back in the days, they were real people and they had real currency. What was real currency? Gold and silver. Huh? Gold and silver. So 1,000 dinars means 1,000 gold coins. Think about it, yeah? It's not a small amount of money. It's a lot of money. This is the savings of the person. All his life, he saved this money. He had only one son. He bequested, he made wasiyah. He said, after I pass away, give this whole bag of money, there's 1,000 gold coins inside here. Give this bag of money when my son becomes of age, when he's able to, when he's able to financially, like, you know. So the person, but he said one thing. He said, when he grows up, when my son grows up, give him what you like. He said to the trustee, the person that he trusts. He said to the trustee, give him what you like, of the money, meaning of the money bag that he's given him, 1,000 gold coins. So the child grew up, and the person came and gave him the bag. Son was all puzzled. He's like, "Why are you giving me a bag?" He said, "Look, this is your dad's request. He requested before he passed away. He said, I should give what I like of the money. Well, I like you to take the bag and I keep the money for myself." Astiya sunnani, eh? Astaghfirullah. Not accusing anyone, yeah? So, no one's got a solution again. Go to this ulama, go to this mufti, go to that mufti, go to all the muftis that are existed. You're like, look, it is what it is. He kept what he liked. He gave what he liked. Can't say anything. That was the request. That was the request. Imam Abu Hanifa called him. They went to Imam Abu Hanifa, explained the situation. Imam Abu Hanifa called him. Said, come. What exactly did the person request? What exactly did the person request? So he said that I should give him whatever I like. I like for him to take the bag. So I gave him the bag and I kept the 1,000 gold coins. Imam Abu Hanifa said, Subhanallah, this person was very clever, very intelligent in the way he made his request. He left it to you to say, to give whatever you like. And what you like is what you kept. What you like is what you kept. You kept the 1,000 gold coins. This is why you kept it. This is why you kept it. So they made him now give the 1,000 gold coins back to the son. And Alhamdulillah, the son was relieved. Otherwise, the son was in complete parashan, you know. He was in big issues. Alhamdulillah, through the fatwa of Imam Abu Hanifa, he was able to get the inheritance money from the trustee back. He was able to get a solution. Next story we go into is helping the slanderer. There was a lot of people that used to slander Imam Abu Hanifa, even within his time, even great muhaddithin. But when problem occurs, who do they come to? No Imam, no Faqih can give a solution to, except the one and only. The one and only. Waqi' ibn al-Jarrah was the teacher of Imam Shafi'i. The teacher of, you must understand, he's very superior in knowledge and he's a Hafiz of Hadith. He's a great Hafiz of Hadith. His neighbor was also a great Hafiz of Hadith. Hafiz of Hadith means he memorized at least 100,000 Hadith with the chains. Okay? We're talking about the giants of Islam here. We're not talking about anyone and everyone here. Both of them are great muhaddith. Waqi' ibn al-Jarrah and his neighbor. His neighbor comes to him. He himself can't find a solution, so he goes to someone who's a bit more senior than him in hadith. He comes to his neighbor and he says, look, this person was a good person, but he was too good sometimes, you know. He said to his wife, basically, if you ask me for talaq tonight, I don't give you it, then you are divorced. If you ask, meaning the wife, if you ask me to give you talaq, I don't give you it, then you are divorced. This was the problem. She in return said, all the slaves and all the wealth that belongs to me will become sadaqah if I do not ask for a talaq tonight. If I do not ask for, meaning the woman, if I do not ask for a talaq tonight, then all my slaves and all my wealth will be given as sadaqah. Very problematic situation. Very problematic situation. When they cooled down, came to their senses, they went to Waqi' ibn al-Jarrah Ibn Jarrah doesn't have no answer. He's like, look, I don't know what to do. I don't think this is possible to solve. So they go to Imam Abu Hanifa. Now, he was known to slander Imam Abu Hanifa. So he refused initially. No, can't go to Imam Abu Hanifa. Oh, he is who he is. I don't think him. So they go to this Imam and that Imam. They go to Sufyan al-Thawri. They go to Ibn Abi Layla. All these great Imams. None of them came to help. They're like, look, this issue cannot be solved. You can see how many a time. This is just a couple of stories, yeah? I'm only relating to you a couple of stories. This happened multiple times from multiple avenues over thousands of people. Okay? All the Imams, they became completely just like, look, there's no solution to this problem. Here is another one. Both of them, they didn't have any replies, they didn't have any answers, they don't know how to solve this. They went to Imam Abu Hanifa. Imam Abu Hanifa said, look, do you really love each other? Do you want to be inside the marriage? Do you actually want to stay? He said, yes, we love each other, blah, blah, blah. We definitely want to stay inside the marriage. This was out of anger. And Imam Abu Hanifa said, look, he told the wife, ask for divorce. Ask for divorce. So she asked for divorce. In reply, he told this other great muhaddith, the neighbor of Waqi' ibn Jarrah, told him in reply, tell him, I divorce you if you want. If you want. Then the woman, of course, replied, I don't want. I don't want the divorce. Therefore, Allahu Akbar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved another marriage through Imam Abu Hanifa. Nobody had that coming inside their head. They had to ask for the divorce. He had to ask for the divorce in order for the oaths to be upheld. But at the same time, they held both of their oaths and they were not divorced at the end. Alhamdulillah. From that day again, similar story. Both of them prayed for Imam Abu Hanifa. We'll finish off, inshallah. We've got another one or two, three stories, short stories. Atheists, they came to the masjid. They hated Imam Abu Hanifa because they knew Imam Abu Hanifa, his arguments were too strong. All the time they used to get defeated. I told you he went to Basra 27 times. And each time he went, he would always win the debate. He was a sword against the atheists. Now, once he was sitting in the masjid alone, a group of them came and they pounced on him with a sword, with swords. They wanted to kill him on the spot. Abu Hanifa said, just answer me one question. Take it easy, just answer me one question. Abu Hanifa said, they said, okay, we'll let you one before we kill you, we'll give you that one question. Abu Hanifa said, is it possible to believe a ship goes from destination A to B fully loaded through the battering winds and the huge waves, going from destination to destination without a crew, without a captain, without anyone in control of the whole situation? They said, this is completely unimaginable. This is impossible. There's no cabin crew. There's no crew there. If there's no captain there, there's no one to navigate the ship. How would the ship go from A to B? It's not possible. How could everything be just loaded onto that ship without any people? He replied, how? If that is if that to you is unimaginable and unreasonable, unthinkable, then how does a world like this is continuously, going through different conditions, that is continuously changing affairs, how could that have no navigator? Could that have no captain to run this whole earth system? Immediately they repented, they made tawbah, and they became Muslims, true Muslims, at the hands of Imam Abu Hanifa. A good judgment. Imam Abu Hanifa was sitting with Muhammad bin Ali. Remember Muhammad bin Ali? Last week we spoke about him, one of the grandsons of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whilst he was sitting, Imam Abu Hanifa, he said, there were people with him. He said, this person is a teacher, he's a stranger, meaning he's not from this area, and he's got sweets under his arm. Yeah, sleeves. So one of them went up to that person and really asked him, like, what are you? What are you doing here? Who are you? He replied, I'm a teacher. I'm not from here. And I've got sultanas under in my sleeves. They were so shocked. They came back to Imam Abu Hanifa and they said, how did you know that this man was a stranger, a teacher, and he had something sweet inside his sleeves? He said, I saw him looking at children. I immediately knew he was a teacher. Then he was looking left and right. I immediately knew that he wasn't from this area. And then I also saw some bees flying in his sleeves. Therefore, I knew there were sweets inside. Allahu Akbar. This was immediately how he could judge a person from far, far, far away. Imam Abu Hanifa knew your inside out even before you can see it. Allahu Akbar. The last story, inshallah, is Imam Abu Hanifa, a good prophet. Imam Abu Hanifa was in the desert. He felt thirsty. A Bedouin came with a whole bottle of water. He tried to haggle with him, but he wouldn't sell it for less than, it's like basically saying a normal bottle of water is £1. Yeah. He wants to sell it for £5. Yeah. 5 dirhams. Yeah, it comes as 5 dirhams. He wants to sell it for £5. In the middle of the desert, where are you going to find water? So Abu Hanifa, he wanted to teach him a lesson. It's not that he didn't want to give him the money. Money is not an issue. But to teach him a lesson that you don't do this. You don't do this when you're in the desert. So he tried negotiating, it wouldn't work. So he said, okay, take the £5, take the £5, take the 5 dirhams, and he bought the water. He drank the water. Then Imam Abu Hanifa, he offered him sawiq. He said, would you like some sawiq? He put it on the table. He said, sawiq is basically like a sweet dish made of fine flour. The Bedouin is hungry, middle of the desert, started eating and eating the whole bowl. What happens after eating? You get thirsty. So now he says he needs water now. He says, how much for water? 1 cup of water. Not 1 jug now, not 1 bottle now 1 cup of water. He says 5 dirhams. 5 dirhams, meaning 5 silver coins. He tried negotiating, nothing's working. So eventually he bought the glass of water. The Bedouin bought the glass of water for that 5 dirhams back. So Abu Hanifa got his money back, and he only gave a glass away, and he took the whole bottle away with himself. He taught the Bedouin a great lesson to say that you don't skank people out when it comes to water, especially in the middle of a desert. Allahu Akbar. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq for all of that which we have heard, the great geniusness of these great Imams. There's much more, many more stories, but this was just a small book that I related, that I read a long time ago, that I wanted to share with everyone. And inshallah, for those who have misunderstandings just like some of the muhaddithin had initially before meeting Imam Abu Hanifa, before actually conversing and challenging Imam Abu Hanifa, and before coming to solutions through Imam Abu Hanifa. The one who slandered Imam Abu Hanifa, he found the solution. He went from this person to that person because he was shy to go to Imam Abu Hanifa. But eventually, he went and found the solution, and he was able to save his marriage through Imam Abu Hanifa. And then later on, he kept on making du'as for Imam Abu Hanifa. So all those that have misconceptions of Imam Abu Hanifa must throw away their misconceptions and must completely understand that whatever Imam Abu Hanifa says, he only says from Quran and Sunnah. He would never ever go against Quran and Sunnah. And just like he said to Muhammad bin Ali, isn't it? We read the story. Initially, he thought rationally, Imam Abu Hanifa used to use a lot of rationalism. Whereas this wasn't true. This wasn't true when it came to Quran and Hadith. He gave him 3 examples that he immediately the grandson was the first is how could you tell that you go against of course you don't go against it. You are completely wrong in our assessment. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك.